Hello, and welcome to Virtual Investor Conferences. My name is Cecilia, and on behalf of OTC Markets, we're very pleased you have joined us for our next live presentation from Dryden Gold. Please note you can submit questions for the presenter in the box to the left of the slides. You can also view a company's availability for one-on-one meetings through the Schedule Meetings tab found on the conference platform. At this point, I'm very pleased to welcome Trey Wasser, Chief Executive Officer, and Mara Kolb, President of Dryden Gold Corp, which trades on the OTCQB venture market under the symbol DRYGF and on the TSXV under the symbol DRY. Welcome, Trey and Mara.
Cecilia.
Thank you.
Thanks everybody for tuning in today. We're very excited to tell you the story of Dryden Gold. Dryden is a new story in the marketplace. We just came public in January of this year, so it is maybe a name not all of you have heard of, but we've got a very exciting story, we think, and we'll jump right into it. The forward-looking statements is just that. Our disclaimer that everything we can say applies to Mark Twain's definition of a gold miner. And any of you don't know that, you can Google it and look it up. I'll tell you a little bit about the capital structure and the company overall. We've put together what we feel is a very strategic land package in a very underexplored camp in the Dryden, what we call the Dryden district, used to be known as the Kenora mining district in Northwest Ontario. Maura is going to talk a little bit more later about why this property package is so strategic, but to give you an idea of the infrastructure here around our property, we have the Trans-Canada Highway runs right through the northern portion into the town of Dryden. Highway 502 drops down through the southern portion of our property from the town of Dryden. We have hydropower, Quebec grid, not hydro, grid power from Ontario Grid running right through the property. And so it's very easy access, and that access has even been improved in recent years by a lot of logging going on. So we have the access through logging roads to some remote areas that heretofore were hard to access. We started putting this property package together as a private company a little over 2 years ago, and also then started to assemble the team mostly last year prior to going public. So we have a board that is made up of all geologists and people that have built and sold companies. Myself had a company called Ely Gold Royalties that we sold in 2021. Darren Wagner has built a couple of companies and also is a founder of Mag Silver, both of which were sold through M&A transaction. Christina McCarthy, the same, just recently sold her company Paycor to I-80 Gold. And Jason Jessup, who's currently building up a very exciting new nickel copper story in Sudbury called Magna Mining. Then on the technical team, we have both Maura as president, and he heads up our exploration team, and Anna Hicken. And just to brag on Maura just a bit is that she has a tremendous amount of experience in this part of the world. Worked for Gold Corp for 8 years at the Red Lake mine. 5 of those years she ran the 90-person team exploration division for not only replacing ore underground, but also for regional exploration. And our number 2 there was Anna Hicken, and Anna also joined us here last year. So on the technical side, we've also got a very strong team, and we're starting to add some new geologists here as we're going forward. From a capital structure standpoint, we've been able to attract some of the stalwarts of the industry as a private and public company. So we have investments from Ron McEwen, Eric Sprott, Delbrook Capital, Peter Schiff's Euro Pacific Fund. Our largest shareholder is Alamos Gold. And while it doesn't reflect here on the capital structure, we are just closing today a $5.1 million financing of both flow through and hard dollar shares. So that cash balance will jump substantially as of tomorrow. And we were able to attract again not only repeat investments from some of our key shareholders, but also Bob Quartermain, another stalwart of the industry, participated, as well as the 1832 fund, the Dynamic Fund, Rob Cohen. So we continue to add high quality shareholders, and our ability to raise money in this tough market for juniors. We actually had to upsize this offering. We started at $2 million and we upsized it 3 times, and finally closed the book here today at just under $5.1 million. So with that, I'm gonna turn the controls and the story over to Maura, that she can talk a little bit more about this project. I mean, again, you can see here on this slide, we've got 60,000 hectares. This camp, again, has never been consolidated, a property package like this. We've done it over the last couple of years with a series of option agreements and property purchases, as well as staking. New to the camp, Kenorland, one of the premier exploration companies in Canada, came in and picked up a property next door to us here in the blue. Up north in the purple is the Treasury Metals, now Next Gold, that Frank Juster just got involved with. And so that's a 3 million ounce deposit up there. So we've got, again, a land package here that just has never seen modern geological exploration and interpretation, and mainly because these claims were always so fragmented, and this claim package now allows us to really have a district-sized play here. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Maura to talk about why this property package is so strategic and our current drilling and past drill results.
Thanks, Trey. So this is a great map to start off with. So you can see that we have all of the land there in the yellow. We really feel we have the best position in the camp compared to our neighbors. In black hashed lines is the Manitou Denoric Deformation Zone. So that structure for us is really key. We believe that's the controlling feature for all the high-grade gold in this camp. And so we feel we have the best position. Everything that is stakeable, we have on that structure. As Trey mentioned, this was really quite a project to put all of this land package together. So we've been working on that for the last couple of years as a private company. And we're really pleased with the land position that we have. There has been a little bit of historic exploration here. About 30,000 meters has been drilled on the entire property. But we really feel we have an opportunity to look at this in a very systematic way that will unlock value for our shareholders. Let's talk a little bit about the past here. So this was a mining camp at the turn of the century. At that point, there were several little small operations. And when you walk around the property, it's pretty interesting because you actually feel like you're in a ghost town. All these little historic mines and their mills set up. There's a very spectacular gold intercept on the property of 53,000 grams per ton. And that's in the top there of this image. That's all gold, all of that yellow. So pretty impressive. And you don't really see that sort of mineralization unless you're in a fruitful system. And that's something that really got me excited about the project and wanted to join the team. These type of deposits typically in the Archean, in this part of Canada, are very deep rooted. So you'll see Red Lake or Timmins, they go over 1 kilometer to depth. Now, the Gold Rock camp, where we're focusing our energy, has been historically mined only to 140 meters. So we feel there's a lot of blue sky opportunity at depth, and we're just beginning to scratch the surface of that. Just to give you some context of where we're located within the world, we're in Dryden, which is kind of halfway between Winnipeg, Manitoba, and Thunder Bay, Ontario. We're in an area of great mining. To the north of us, 2 hours, is Red Lake. To the south of us is the Rainy River Mine. And there's lots of these other deposits you can see on the map here. So it's really a mining district. One of the other exciting things about our particular property is that we have gold occurrences happening from top to bottom. Our property there is outlined in the blue, black, and the pink. We're really focused on the outlined area in black, which we call the Gold Rock Camp. It's seen the most historic drilling, and that crazy, beautiful high-grade hit I showed you a couple slides ago, that is from that area. And we followed up with our own drilling and got results of 14 grams over 7.5 meters as one of the highlights. So certainly something exciting there. But what I really like is that there are high-grade hits either from grab samples that are taken on surface or drilling from top to bottom of this property. So there really is an opportunity for a district-size play here. Now we have zoomed in and I said we're focused on the Gold Rock Camp. And here's a geology map showing that area. And you can kind of see the different color rocks. There's some nice folding there. And that's really what drew me to the project. The similarities between the geometries here in the Gold Rock Camp and what I had seen in Red Lake for my many years there. Now there was historic mining here, which I took you through, several different operators, but it was the biggest mining district within this kind of Dryden region. And we think there's a lot of potential for high-grade gold near this Manitou to Norwick deformation zone. And that's kind of drawn out there in the arrows. And then we see an older generation of faulting that is the more east-west structures that are repeating. And when those two intersect, it creates great traps for high-grade gold. And that's really what gets us excited about the opportunity on this particular property. Trey mentioned that I spent many years in Red Lake. And so when I talked to Trey about joining the company, I got excited right away seeing the geometries were so similar between the folded rock units at the Red Lake camp and the Dryden Gold Rock camp. And then what I just showed you on the last slide, those fault networks, they're very similar as well. And they create great traps for high-grade gold when you have all of those things happening. As we've been working on this property over the last couple of years, we've started to really confirm this thesis that these two deposits could be similar. We've done this through mapping, geophysics, and some of our drilling as well. And we've started to see that there are 3 styles of mineralization in the Red Lake mine as well as the Dryden camp. And we really have those favorable host rocks. So it starts to come together that this is very interesting for a gold camp and for gold exploration. Now, this is a very busy slide, but it actually shows a lot. So I'll quickly kind of explain what we're looking at. This is, again, the Gold Rock Camp area, that geologic map I showed you before. But now we're looking at the geophysics. So this is an airborne magnetic survey. Lots of busy colors, but you can sort of see the different layers that we saw before and some of the fault network. So we worked with some very high-tech group that does geophysics called Mira Geoscience. Now they used some AI and they used all of the historic available mapping data, the geophysics, and we created a 3D geologic model and 3D geophysical inversion. And what that does is it allows us to create a model that helps us with the framework. And then there are anomalies that are left over that can't be explained by this geologic model. And that's what all those red lines are. Those anomalies pop up right over top of the known mineralization in the area and the historic mines. There are lots of other anomalies, though, that are untested. So it gives us a great amount of targets to work on and areas to go mapping as well as drill. So very exciting, the amount of targets we've seen just through this process. Now, Trey mentioned that we've only been traded publicly since the beginning of the year. So we wanted to come out of the gates quite aggressively, showing that we had something exciting here at the Gold Rock Camp. We had 3 goals to our first exploration campaign, which we started at the end of last year. The first one was to show that we could expand the footprint of the Gold Rock Camp beyond where it had historically been tested. So that was a positive success. Then we wanted to try to understand the controls of the high-grade mineralization by drilling where we knew there was a high-grade chute and trying to expand that, collect oriented data, which really gives us exactly what orientation things are going so we can understand where the shoots will go, where they haven't been tested yet. And then we wanted to use that information that we learned to then test for new high-grade shoots. All three of these goals were successful, and one of the new high-grade shoots that we discovered graded 26 grams over 3 meters. So it's pretty exciting to have on one of your first tests. We learned several different things. One of the main things I want to show you here is that the historic drilling that had happened in this area, they were very selective about how they sampled it. So we feel there's a big opportunity on our property to look at the historic core, which has been stored well, and we have, for hanging wall and footwall mineralization, for areas that they didn't sample because they had a bias about vein mineralization being the key, whereas we see sheared basalt hosting high-grade gold as well. So we've learned a lot of different opportunities with the first drill campaign that we completed. And what you're looking at there in all the bright colors is a long section of one of the veins that we've been targeting. That's the Big Master 2. And we discovered a new high-grade shoot on that. It's one of the tests that we did. So we're really starting to pull this thing together. And I'll show you more in a second. We're also pretty excited about getting our own location. I'm actually sitting here in the core shack today that's featured in these pictures. As I mentioned, we have a lot of the historic core from the previous operators. We've been able to start collecting that in the bush. It's in great condition, and bring it into our new core shack facility that I'm at today. We have an opportunity there with about 20,000 meters that we've been able to locate and secure, and we'll slowly start bringing that in. We have started bringing that in, and we'll continue to relog it. And people ask, like, okay, well, is that interesting? Like, what does that mean? But if you think to one of the darlings of this industry, Great Bear, they made their big discovery of the LP zone through a relogging campaign. They had done the same sort of work we have, putting together a geologic framework of the region. And when they went to look at the historic core, they found visible gold. And then they were able to piece that together because they'd done the geologic model, that there was another structure that hadn't really been very well tested. So it can be really enlightening, and we're very excited about the opportunity with the relogging campaign. This summer, we've also completed a 1,600-meter drill campaign that we wanted to follow up on that first program where we tested the high-grade shoots, controls, and started to find some new high-grade shoots. On this one, I'll show you where we were targeting. We have 3 parallel vein structures in this kind of cartoon, very simple plan map. The long section that you're looking at here is on what we call the Elora structure, where that arrow is showing one of the high-grade shoots. We're really excited about this. This is where our best result came from the first program that we did in the spring, 14 grams over 7.5 meters. And then we followed up a little bit deeper on this next set of 3 holes. And we've seen visible gold in 2 of those and nice mineralization in the other. So we're really starting to get excited about the potential at the Elora high-grade shoot here. As we look at one of the other parallel structures, now we're looking at the Big Master 2, which we saw earlier. That's this one on the plan section. Every time I showed this to people, I got a question, well, you see kind of 2 different high-grade shoots here. They're fairly narrow. Could they come together? So that's what we decided to test in this summer campaign. And right now we are cutting and processing the samples to send to the lab of this first campaign. So we'll start to see results coming back very soon from the first few holes, and I'm excited to see these. We also saw visible gold in one of these holes and nice veining, so I'm pretty optimistic that these 2 high-grade shoots may come together, in fact. What does this all mean? And now that we've looked at the kind of cartoon version of this map, here's a nicer version where you actually see the veins traced out with their kind of complexities. I have these dotted lines showing where those more east-west structures are that we believe are controlling the high-grade mineralization in these shoots. What's really exciting about this map is that you see the shoots we've discovered so far are occurring basically on that intersection between the kind of vein system structure and where those east-west structures come through. We've defined 4 of those, and one of the biggest producing mine in the area with a grade of 14 grams per ton average grade was located on one of these cross structures too. That's the Laurentian mine. So to me, it's really starting to show us that we have a big opportunity. Many other intersection many other intersection targets here that haven't even been tested. And this is really a pretty small footprint so far. These shoots that we've defined in the Laurentian mine down to Elora, that's about 1 kilometer. So we really have a big opportunity in a pretty small space. And we're learning a lot from the drilling and the relogging that we've done so far. So very exciting opportunity here in the Gold Rock camp. We've taken this information we've learned from the Gold Rock camp and really been expanding it as well to our entire property. Now we have a large footprint, 600 square kilometers or 60,000 hectares, which is a big footprint. We did reconnaissance last summer over the entire property, and it was really exciting because it showed us some new opportunities to follow up on. Way out to the east, we have the Hinman property, where in the reconnaissance program, we got 4 samples that graded over 10 grams per ton, just on a reconnaissance program. So we've gone through our same sort of geologic system here, using the geophysics, coming up with targets, and we've just completed, really like last week, a big mapping program there and sampling program there. To the south, we have a target called Sheridan. That was historically drilled by our predecessor, and I'm not sure why they walked away. They had some really nice visible gold intercepts in their drill campaign and many hits over 10 grams per ton. A surface sample that graded over 600 grams per ton. So pretty exciting target there. We also just wrapped up a field mapping campaign there and sampling campaign. So I think there'll be quite a few exciting things from our regional exploration as well. And why is this important? Well, as a junior explorer, we want to show that we have something right away, like the Gold Rock camp, where we're showing that we have some exciting high-grade opportunities. But we also want to show we have a pipeline of targets because we have such a big land package. We really feel that the Dryden camp could be a new gold district in Canada. So we've ranked and rated the targets that we have, and we're working on these 2 regional targets as well as really growing the Gold Rock camp through fieldwork and our drill campaign. To show that we have not only brownfields opportunity at Gold Rock, but an entire district-wide opportunity. And I think that'll make us really, really attractive to strategic investments or strategic partners in the future, mid-tier and major companies. So with that, I'm going to hand it back to Trey, and we can start opening up to questions, I think, after that. Trey, you're muted.
To wrap things up, I think that we do have some questions in there, so we'll get to those. But just want to again point out that we are very well funded now with the closing of this financing, so we will be able to make our property payments, our last property payment on the core property here next spring, as well as be drilling well into next spring. And we also have a very aggressive marketing program that starting really with the conference in New York, I'll be attending the 1-to-1. Maura's then going out to Vancouver for a show at the Metal Investment Forum. I think over the next couple of months, you will see a couple of the letter writers picking up coverage of us from some meetings we had in Beaver Creek. I'll be going back to Montreal for another marketing road trip up there and then off to Europe. So we'll be very active this fall from my end anyway on the marketing, which is, I know, important to the shareholders. And, the drill results, as Maura pointed out, we should start seeing sometime next week the initial drill results from some of those holes that had the visible gold in it. So it's going to be an exciting time here for Dryden. And with that, maybe I'll pick up on one of the first questions here is what attracted Eric Sprott and Rob McEwen to your project? And I would say...
Go ahead.
Yeah, with Eric, he at Ely Gold, we started the Ely Gold royalties, pivoted and started the royalty portfolio in 2016, and Eric was one of our original investors in that, and made quite a few investments after that, to the point where in 2021, when we started at about an $8 million market cap in 2016, and we sold in 2021 to Gold Royalty Corp for $300 million. Eric owned about 29% of the Ely Gold Royalty stock, so he made some pretty good money on that with me, and decided he'd try again. as far as Rob goes, the major part of this property, the patented claims, and I can see Morris just dying to jump in here, but let me just say that Rob owned this property going way back when he formed in Dickinson Mines, when he formed Gold Corp, and the property just never got any attention. And when we presented to Rob, he said, I was always mad that Gold Corp sold this without ever having looked at it, because I always liked this property and thought it had a lot of similarities to Red Lake. And so I think, and then from that point, he and Maura started talking more geologically. And so, Maura, if you want to jump in here and.
Yeah, I was just going to say he got really excited about the similarities we saw between Red Lake and the Gold Rock Camp, and just the potential. You don't hit crazy high grade like we've seen on this property as a fluke. So pretty exciting.
The next question is explain the grades in the long section. And so let me go back to this slide here. So when you look at this, a lot of the holes there in the purple, those are historic holes that we had, that Maura actually had to do by hand the math to get these things figured out. But if you look at the grade in all the intercepts there, they average about 7 meters thick. The purple there is actually in gram meters. It says on the scale 10 or greater, but the purple actually averages about 37 grams meters. So a lot higher grade than just the 10 that's on there. And of course, our goal here will be that as Maura pointed out, that it's these high grade shoots, again, like Red Lake, where you really start to pull ounces together, because they tend to go very deep. And so, our intention is with drilling is to continue to drill deeper here. When we're getting a permit here so that we can get cozy up to that vein and maybe start twinning some of those holes, or not twinning, but drilling some more holes near surface and trying to turn all of that red purple. And if we can do that, that's 150 meters of strike length on surface, starting at surface, as you can see. So these kind of shoots, as we can uncover more and more of them, they tend to go very deep and get in Red Lake anyway. They got richer and as you went deeper. So that's kind of explains that. Anything else to add there, Maura?
Just that our deepest drilling on this is about 250 meters deep. So it's still very shallow. And like Trey mentioned, there's a lot of down depth potential and continuity typically in these systems. So it's very exciting that we seem to have a good handle on the controls and what orientation these are going at. So a lot of opportunity there. And then I saw another question that I'd like to answer about the milestones coming up. And for us, really, we are very excited about the funding that we just got, because we feel like we're really onto something in terms of these high grade controls. So you'll see us do another drill campaign here in the fall. We just want to start to get all of these results back. We've been very careful about the way we spent our money to date. We want to get as much information out of each drill hole before we plan the next. So you'll see us continue with that very systematic exploration approach, and do this in phases as long as the drillers are willing. We've actually never had the drill leave the site, so we've been able to do smaller pulses of drilling, apply all the new information, and then use that towards the next program. So you'll see a couple more drill programs, one here in the fall and probably one early in the new year, and going from there. And also our property payment will be a big milestone for us as well. Anything else you want to add for milestones?
Yeah, I just think I pointed out before a very aggressive marketing campaign, which is very important. Again, I've got a lot of Ely shareholders in Europe, so I expect to be well received over there. And then those efforts will go into more U.S. Focus next year as well, with the Mines and Money in show in February in Miami, and then the capital events, Scottsdale in April. So we'll be doing more focus on U.S. and some U.S. road shows. But as far as our approach to financing, we think we're pretty well set here for a bit. And while we are, there is a possibility of seeing some interest from strategic investors. We're from this point on, we're going to be very cognizant of dilution, and we think that if we show the results and the stock starts to move up, we may do a financing early next year or mid part of next year before the summer, but we don't have to do anything before that for sure.
And I noticed we're out of time, but if you have any questions, you can always put them on our website. We have a Q&A there as well. So really appreciate it.
All right.